everybody, and welcome back to another Toonkind at 12 FPS. My name is Avi, and I'll be playing a mystery character for a good portion of this FPS. And I am joined today by...
It's me, it's Wick. I'm gonna be playing a certain uh, leafy detective. And yeah, woo.
Yeah! so, Wick. Wick, so tell me, what is Shirley A plant doing right now?
Ah, wait.
Wick?
So, uh, so so currently, Shirley is doing what they do best, which is being a plant. Because Connie is also in the office, so they can't really do much at the moment. Uh, they do have one or two files out on the desk, but they are staying extremely still as Connie is rummaging around in the pantry and fridge, making sure that they have everything for the day.
Alright. And it's probably around this time that there were footsteps coming up to the door of the office, and there is a knock. Um, just a gentle, knock on the door. What do you do?
Uh, Shirley does absolutely nothing,
Hell
but
yeah!
Connie uh, it looks a little surprised and goes over to the door. Opens it just a little bit before opening it completely and going, "Oh, hello. And how are you today?"
I'm just fine, thank you. Standing right in front of you is a young man. Connie, hang on, let me grab a picture. He's real kind. He looks pretty young. Probably a teenager or so. He's got lanky brown hair and what's Connie's passive perception?
Their passive is a 15.
Okay, yeah. He is wearing one glove on one hand, on his left hand, and hang on, I pulled up the wrong picture.
That's a mood. I don't even have pictures to pull up, so
Give me a second, guys.
don't worry. We'll see this. We'll see this boy. How tall? How tall is he?
He is about 5'10". Like I said, he's real kind, pretty tall. Uh, but this is him. He's pretty nicely dressed.
There
Uh,
he is.
for somebody his age. And he goes, this is the sign on the door said this is Detective Plant's office. Yes.
Oh, yes, yes, it is. And they nod before stepping back and a little bit away so they can step inside. Why don't you have a seat over here? And they kind of gesture to the chair that is in front of the desk. So, like, not the armchair, but the other one.
All right. I forgot to mention he's also carrying a metal suitcase, and on it is a the letter A in a circle, pretty finely made. And he takes a seat at the desk, or wherever you directed him to, Connie.
Yes. Um, uh, Connie goes, "Oh, would you like me to get that for you?" As they point to the suitcase, the little briefcase, whatever you call it.
He shakes his head. Oh, no, no, no. This is important to me. I need to keep a hand on this.
Okay. All right. So Connie kind of just walks around and actually sits in the other chair. So now they're facing each other. Uh, I hope not to disappoint too much, but Mixed Plant isn't here just yet. I think they stepped out for something. But in the meantime, if you would like to just wait here, I'm sure that they'll be back soon.
I don't mind waiting. I like to think myself as a patient man. And he kind of chuckles at that and fixes his hair a bit.
um, Connie kind of just adjusts the files that are on the desk and gives like a little pat to the plant that is resting on the desk. Um, oh, have you met this plant? Mixed Plant really likes it. Um, they make sure that I get food and water for them. They're actually going to go into their humor space. And they pull out a little spray bottle and give it a little spritz.
Yeah, this boy, he glances between Mix Connie and the plant, and his gaze kind of lingers on the plant for just like a little bit before he looks back to Connie.
Okay. um, Connie kind of notices this gaze, but just kind of keeps going. Like they perceive it as like an interest in the plant. Oh, this kind of plant is what was it called again? Uh, lily turf, I think. As they just kind of pet one of the leaves. I'm not quite sure where they got it from.
It is a fascinating plant, I assume.
Oh, yes. It seems to always be placed in really hard to reach places. And they just kind of glance at the cabinet on the far side of the wall, which is about like 6 feet tall. So it tends to end up there. I don't know why. Maybe they just like being tall. Oh, sorry. Um, I'm Constance Lane. I'm their business partner, uh, roommate. I'm not quite sure. But they hold out a little paw for you to shake.
Alright, this young man takes, the paw in his hand and he goes, my name is Shiro Azumi. I'm actually here to hopefully get some, I suppose you could say, a lead on a case I am pursuing.
Uh, Connie's eyes just kind of sparkle a little bit. Oh, you're a detective too? That's quite exciting. What kind of cases have you worked on?
Oh well, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the island country called Yedo. You're free to roll history on that, I guess.
Okay. What's their history? History. Okay, wait, I think that's it. Oh, okay.
Okay, uh,
Uh,
great, how do I resolve this?
it's like just kind of knows. I've got it. It sounds very familiar, but they don't know many specifics on it. They just know it exists,
Yeah,
knows that it's a certain distance away.
it is pretty, I would say it's pretty far from Inkwell, yes.
But they have heard about it, perhaps maybe read a little like brochure or something on it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they just kind of know the basics. Oh wow, that's rather far from here. Did you Did you travel all the way?
Uh, hang on, let me give you a second.
Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, you're going to see something
The
that's
anticipation.
kind of bullshit about this boy.
Let's go. Oh, excuse me. For the audience, that's a modifier of +10. So,
Yeah, expertise, as you know, for rogues and I think it's bards, doubles proficiency. So,
hello.
this
Okay, what
this
was this for?
okay. Azumi says, yes, I did travel all the way here for this specific case. That was a deception check.
Damn, all right. Wait, should I try to insight that or nah?
If you want, you can.
I mean, I don't think it'll work, but I'll give it a shot because that's a very tough thing. Oh,
Oh shit!
oh shit. Also expertise on insight. +8, baby.
That was, for the
Um,
audience, that was a modified 24 on deception versus a modified 27 on insight.
damn. So Connie's just like, wait a minute.
uh, yeah, from what you can tell, he did come here, to Einquell for this, but there is something more to that. But, if it's related to the case, he might not be willing to share it.
Don't worry about that. Because Connie hears this and says, "Oh, there must be more to this." Oh, right. They kind of stared off into space for a moment and then realized, "Oh, how rude of me! I should have offered some tea." They get up from their chair and go to the cabinet to get some tea. Do you like tea?
I certainly don't mind.
Um, Let me just get that for you. And then they open the cabinet and oh, oh dear. There doesn't seem to be any tea left. As they're looking at an empty box of tea. Oh, that just won't do. Um, they close the cabinet and uh, turn back to him. Um, hmm. Uh, there is a little shop that's nearby. Do you think I can go pick up some tea? And maybe Mixed Plant will be back by then. Is that quite all right?
That's certainly fine by me.
Uh, they they clap a little, but they give a little smile. Ah, okay. I'll be right back. And so they kind of they kind of they scurry to the door, uh, open, close, and you hear footsteps, soft footsteps plodding back down. And for a moment, the office is quiet. It's just you and this plant. What will you do?
Um, is the plant sitting on the desk for the for Detective Plant?
Yes.
All right.
sorry, I'm just imagining in my brain that they're sitting in silence for a moment, the ceiling fan just kind of turning, and he's just sitting there
Because
staring.
Azumi has like a an assumption, and he might he might just get up from where he's sitting, taking his briefcase with him, and he walks over to the desk. And there's a brief moment where he looks contemplative. But then, before he, like, actually takes the chair, that's, like, in front of the desk, he... What does he do? What does he say specifically? He says... I hope I'm not intruding, but you wouldn't happen to be mixed plant, would you?
It's a very brief moment of silence, but then you hear a voice in your head. Yes, be me.
And
no movement from the plant. Just you hear a voice.
Azumi, like, a light smile crosses Azumi's expression. And what does he say? He says, could I have a moment of your time then?
Of course. And now is where you hear and see like a little rustling, and then a couple of the leaves kind of stretch out a little. They take one or two of the files and start stashing them back into the cabinet. I've been working on a couple of cases, but if you need a lead, I would be happy to assist.
I have to admit that the case I am pursuing is a bit unconventional. And he puts his briefcase in his laps, and he unlocks it and opens it, and he pulls out a newspaper. And he puts it on the desk, and with it he puts a very small piece of cardstock. Hang on, I need to find it again.
Cardstock.
Hang on, give me a second to find it.
No, it's fine. I'm building the scene in my brain.
Where did I put it? Good Lord, help me.
It was right here.
Yeah, it was right here. Where did I put it? Shit, man.
While you're finding it and placing the items, Shirley is going to go into their hammer space. And they preemptively procure from, you can't tell, somewhere in the pot, maybe? But they procure a magnifying glass, just in case they need to take a closer look.
Alright, that's good. I found it, by the way. He pulls out a sort of thin, piece of cardstock, and on one side is this logo with this strange sort of image. It looks like a top hat and a mask, and it has the words "Take Your Heart" written across the bottom of it. But on the other side is a note for a certain Max Million, Um, and as Azumi places these on the on the desk, and you can see that the the article the newspaper is open to is talking about the same person that's this calling card is addressed to has confessed to a variety of crimes. And Azumi turns the calling card and points out to the name, and he says, I am currently trying to find this man, this spirit rogue who calls himself Trickster. You see, he's a wanted criminal from the country that I am from.
Shirley is kind of just like, you know, when someone is like, when a guy's like stroking his beard or like your chin. Shirley's doing that, but like with the pot like that they're in. But no, but they're taking this very seriously. Um, they hold the magnifying glass a little closer to the name, and they don't answer right away. Rather, they put down the magnifying glass. Uh, they open one or two of the drawers of the desk, and you see them rummage around a couple of files. They seem to be looking for something, but they don't find it. They kind of shut the drawer in a hurry, and then you you again see the most curious sight as they upend themselves onto the desk and start walking about on their leaves. They scuttle across the desk, down it, and to the large cabinets on the left wall. Uh, they seem to be onto something as they jut out a couple more leaves, pulling different cabinet drawers. They're trying to find stuff related to it, to who you're looking for.
Uh,
But how does he react?
Azumi's just kind of watching this, like, okay, this is happening.
um, but finally, after just another minute or two, uh, they stop and then they pull out about one or two files from a particular cabinet. Then they quickly shut all of them, and they they toss the file onto the desk and then pull themselves up back onto the desk. I think something. I might have something. And they flip open it, and sure enough, it seems rather sparse, but there seems to be one or two pages related to Trickster.
Alright.
Just maneuvering potted plant, regular occurrence.
Azumi hasn't been in Einquell for this long, and he's just like, tunes. Because, like, he's smiling pleasantly throughout watching this entire thing happen, but, like, there's, like, this look in behind his eyes where he's just like, oh, okay.
Hey, wait, should I roll something
Um,
does Shirley notice this?
you can roll insight if you'd like.
All right, let's take a look. What is your insight? Your insight is not as high, which is actually kind of concerning. That's okay. Nah, that's just a regular day in the office.
Regular day in the office.
Shirley is just completely focused on getting the right information. any information, really. Anything to help out a fellow detective.
Yes, and Azumi kind of like takes the the folder to like, well, he kind of like looks to Shirley as if to ask if he can take it and look it over.
And Shirley just remains quiet, but you can kind of just tell that they're looking at him like, well, go ahead.
All right, yeah. Azumi takes it and he looks it over, and as he does, he continues speaking, and he goes, uh, "From what I know, Trickster hasn't been making as much of a ruckus as he has been in Yedo than he has here. But that said, uh, from my experience, that it has potential to change any moment soon.
Shirley.
Yes, as his rival, I suppose it is my job to keep an eye on him."
Um, you don't hear anything. Like Shirley is intently listening, but you kind of just get this confused vibe from them, like rival. What? Like they know what a rival is, but they're just kind of like, I, it's like, am I supposed to have a rival? Like, is that a detective's work?
But
Yes.
he's looking over. He's looking over. There's probably like a little bit on his latest target, maxed out million in this folder.
Yeah, in the folder, you can see there are actually various newspaper clippings. Um, a couple of them do not seem like labeled as a trickster crime, but it seems very likely that it was caused by them. You do see, like, you actually see like a little map of Inkwell to see if there's any patterns, but most of them are kind of like, I'm assuming they're kind of clustered in a particular area.
Uh, the biggest crime so far has been Maximilian, but there have been probably like one or two smaller ones of like just petty crime being stopped all of a
Mm.
sudden. Um, Probably in Toontown and in closer surrounding areas.
Shirley does now speak, but again, the voice is in his head. I apologize for not having much information on this trickster. They're, they don't have a very solid, very strange way that they conduct.
Yes, I am very aware. And he places the folder back down and he goes, "But it does seem to line up with his usual modus operandi, or at least that of the spear rogues. Of course, the spear rogues allegedly stopped their business roughly about a year ago, maybe
He's
even longer."
speaking. He, you see Shirley go again into their hands. They procure a notebook and pencil, and they are intently writing.
And yet, Trickster is popping up on his own in Inkwell. And
So, go ahead.
the way he says that, actually, can you roll insight on this too?
Okay. That's even worse.
Oh no. Alright.
Listen, this plant can only do so much as they're trying to take notes on who the heck these people are.
Yeah, yeah, Azumi says this as if this is a strange thing. That's pretty much all you get.
Huh. So they stop writing for a moment, and then they say, "So who exactly are the spirit rogues? Seems I do not have a lot of information on them, much less than Trickster."
They were. How should I put this? They were a group of individuals who were intent on social reformation through vigilante work. They proclaimed that they could force certain criminals and corrupt individuals into confessing their own crimes with their mouth by, and then he raises his hands to like do quotation marks, stealing their hearts. Of course not. Well, I'm certain that nobody is truly sure about how this method works.
And Shirley kind of exudes this vibe of, yeah, that is kind of weird. I never understood vigilante work. It seems rather, it's it's rather roundabout. Honestly, any kind of justice should be left to law enforcement and professionals. As
Well,
they click their pen in like a
well,
sort of finite way.
Zumi almost like has to stop himself from letting out a bark of laughter. uh, he goes, he chuckles, but you you have to understand. Yedo is not well. The police force in Yedo is not the most trustworthy. Um, and
That's
unfortunately, I know that from firsthand.
oh, you get this feeling that like this that they seem a little disappointed that that wasn't correct, what they had said.
Yeah.
But you also get this, oh, okay. So then they're doing the right thing, but just in a very complex execution. And they pick up their notebook and pen again. They start jotting a couple things down. So it operates a bit like a thieves guild, but for social reform. I don't know if we have a lot of that in Iquo.
That would explain why he hasn't had much more large scale heists, I suppose.
Is this, do you think, more of a steal from the rich, give to the poor situation? Or is it just for the retribution of
Uh,
particular individuals?
no. I'm trying to figure out how to, like, put this in a way that makes sense. Uh, Specifically for Azumi, because there is a very specific thing he could say here, and I think he might actually say it right here. He goes, well, regardless of their motives, they are still considered criminals of the law, and I would be very much inclined to catch Trickster before he can, say, do more damage than good, accidentally or purposefully. And one more insight roll. I believe in plant for that. I believe in plant for this one, please.
I mean, if you really need me to. Okay!
Okay, yeah.
You believed hard enough in the plan.
I believed hard enough in plant for this one. Yeah. Something about this response specifically sounds very rehearsed.
And Shirley at first was kind of like, you can see like their leaves kind of move in an up and down motion. Like, yeah, they're nodding, but then they stop nodding because they get the rehearsed feeling. So Shirley goes, so they appointed you to this case, or is this something you picked up yourself in terms of rivalry?
Hang on, I have to.
It's like, I gotta prepare myself.
I've got to I've got to figure out how he words this, but also I have to figure out how he visibly reacts. So I'm just gonna roll a quick.
Just gonna kind of put you.
Wait, what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be, boy? Yeah, I think this would probably work. Yeah, let's do this instead. Okay, there we go. Yeah, okay. He kind of like straightens himself and he looks almost thoughtful and he says, admittedly, this is for a more personal interest. I was the one who tried to track them down back in the day, and I would very much like to keep my role in that.
And now it's Shirley's turn to kind of stifle a little like laugh. Do plants laugh? But they seem rather bemused. To be frank, back in the day doesn't seem to be a suitable phrase. You seem rather young to be saying such things.
You have to keep in mind they did, in fact, claim to cease operations in Yedo about a little over a year ago. Given how long it's felt, it certainly feels much longer since I've seen him.
Shirley does nod a little, and I know that's a deception roll.
That is a deception roll.
But I'm not going to contest it because I don't think I could get anything higher.
For the audience, that was a modified 29.
Damn, like...
Fucking expertise, man.
Yeah, no, listen, it's great. But Shirley does pause a moment, and then you still do hear it in your head, but it's kind of muttered, and they're just like, is that a rude thing to say? I'm not quite sure. But they keep going. Now, I'm not going to pretend to understand a more passion-motivated crime leading. My words just went out the window.
Oops.
You see Shirley just trail off for a hot second.
Azumi just kind of rests his hand. He kind of like brings his hand, his gloved hand, to his chin, and he goes, "Well, he is a very passionate individual."
Sorry. Damn, uh, so,
But he
sorry, my
is.
brain's like, damn.
But I have to admit, he's not a selfish sort. You see,
Shirley does nod a little bit
yeah,
as you speak.
you see, all of the crimes the Spirit Rogues have committed, at least the ones that were done back in Yedo, my home country, they were done because, well, the victims of those crimes, the victims of the individuals they had targeted, had nowhere else to go.
Shirley looks a little confused.
I won't pretend to paint Yedo in a positive light. About a year or so ago, there was a huge scandal regarding our own Prime Minister. He was also a target of the Spirit Rogues, but he eventually confessed to a variety of crimes, including treason against the government. And I believe Trickster only targeted this person because he recognized that if this man came into power, there would be no saving the rest of the country.
And Shirley is noting all of this down, and then stops writing. So they're a group that operates with good intention to bring others who are perhaps comparatively worse to a justice of sorts.
Yes, that's right.
So why don't they just unionize or something?
That's him
And Shirley
laughing. That's
looks
him.
genuinely confused. They don't have to steal to make a point. And Shirley, you actually notice that there is a mug nearby, and it actually is just filled with water. So it looks like they're gonna take a sip, like of coffee, but it's not coffee. It's just water. They pour a little more into their pot.
Oh, I love that. I
If
mean, Abby,
anything,
love that.
yeah, no, I know. But they set the mug down and continue. They don't need to act as criminals in order to take down other. I mean, I understand their method of operating. I mean, I do as a plant. That is my function. But it would be a lot easier to just establish themselves as, well, a force of good. Vigilantes do tend to have a, a negative connotation, but if they just had formal documents and maybe a meeting place, they would be taken much more seriously and we wouldn't have to take them in. That's why I'm confused.
Well, I suppose it's a matter of perspective. But again, Yedo is not the most glamorous place, and, well, I doubt they would have been taken seriously regardless.
Damn, I.
You
Sorry, it's out
okay?
of character.
You don't have to. Okay, You don't have to roll insight for this. You get the
I mean, I'll
impression.
do it again.
No, you get the impression. You get the impression he is making fun of them for this.
So Shirley does take this in and then asks, "Their previous work had it been effective?"
Very much so, I would say. An
Then
impulsive. No, continue. Sorry, I cut you off.
no, you go ahead.
I would say that yes, that their methods have proven fruitful. Um, there have been plenty of victims who have been hurt at the hands of the corrupt individuals they have targeted. Um,
So, did you just need a lead as they uh, start kind of writing one or two extra notes at the bottom? Did you just need a lead, or did you need someone else to work with you on this? After all, I could still gain some intel, especially with specific connections.
well, if you're already busy with the case, I would hate to divide your attention, but
Oh, don't worry about it. Uh, and as a hold on, wait, I'm gonna roll for it. As a show of that they can handle this. Ooh, should I do this one? Or yeah, all right. Let's roll this.
that's a
Oh
nat
wow, damn.
20.
Can't believe I wasted it on this. But just to show how adept they are, that they pull out a few other files from the desk drawers, and they are holding multiple now because they have a lot of leaves. They hold like five, and they say, "I'm quite good at juggling cases," and they just start juggling these case files. Uh,
Oh, oh, Azumi, my boy, how do you react to this?
they do this for like a moment or two,
Yeah, and
but then they
Azumi kind of chuckles as you do this.
but then they very quickly kind of rip the cabinets back open and just put them all back where they were and shut them. Sorry, I thought humor would be appropriate in order to break the ice.
I, I don't mind. But getting back on track, I wanted to say that, well, I did come here with the intention of hopefully finding a lead, but if you don't mind keeping an eye or an ear out or a leaf out, um, uh, if you happen to hear anything at all about this trickster or whatever he might be up to, I wouldn't mind staying in touch.
And with that, Shirley very deftly takes a business card from the front of the desk and kind of holds it out with their little leaf.
Alright. Azumi takes it and looks it over, pockets it, and he goes back to his own briefcase, pulls out a pen and a pad of paper, and he writes something down, and he tears out the page and slides it over to Shirley Plant, and and it's his own phone number, and he goes, this is the number at where I'm currently staying.
Shirley nods. All right. And they kind of just put it, they stuff it like in their pot so like it just kind of disappears because that's their hammer space. Well, I'm sure that it will be a pleasure to. And then they stop because they hear soft, plodding footsteps coming up the stairs. Uh,
Hey,
and
hey, hey.
in a in a in a panic, they quickly stuff the old notebook paper into the existing file on Trickster. They shut it, and then they go to scuttle across the desk. Uh, but hold on, I want to see if this. Ah, yes, they fumble.
Oh no!
And they and they slip on the edge, the corner of the desk, and they fall to the ground.
Oh dear.
With just it's a soft thud, and it coincides with the kercheck of the door uh, as Connie steps back in. Oh, all right, that was a little longer than I thought. As they close the door and turn around, and they see you, Azumi, as well as a fallen plant. Of course, they've completely stiffened up by now. They're just on their side with a bit of soil spilled out. Oh, oh no! What happened? And they have a bag in their hand, but they drop it at the door as they pad along towards the plant.
Oh, sorry, I was, fuck. What does he
Oh,
say? Shit.
oh dear!
Azumi sweating.
Zuri nervously sweating. I just imagine Shirley also sweating. But they immediately stoop down and they right the plant and they start trying to scoop a little of the spilled soil to put it back into the pot. Oh dear, oh dear. I suppose mixed plant could be the clumsy type. They say as they're trying to the soil back in.
Oh, yes,
Were they here just now?
they were, yes.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm glad you were able to speak to them, but and they get back up and they're holding they're holding the plant. I hope they were able to give some helpful information. Uh, but yes, the tea, right? Uh, unless you have to be going, and they kind of stop, like, oh, right, they're probably done.
Um, I'm torn. I'm very torn because on the one hand, I want him to spend time with tea, but on the
They,
other, it would be very in character for him to just leave right now.
I mean, they don't have to. Just do
Okay.
what your heart tells you.
All right. All right. Here's what happens, and he's just like, ah, my apologies. I have somewhere else to be. Um, Perhaps another time then.
Ah, yes. And I mean, you can hear uh, a little bit in their tone that, like, I missed making tea and stuff. But um, they very quickly place the plant back on the desk. They say, but just a moment, and they waddle back over to the bag that they had dropped at the door. Um, I must admit, I might have taken a little longer, uh, not just because of distance, it was farther than I thought, but also, and they rummage in the bag. Um, they they get they pull out a little tin little tin of cookies. If you would like one before you go, you know, just as a hello and a thank you.
Oh, Connie. Like, your characters are so good.
They just all end up baby.
um, yeah, for like the split for a split second, Azumi's expression contorts with confusion. But like the expression is gone. Like it was like a flash of a second, and he goes, "Well, if you don't mind," and he'll take a cookie.
So so Connie does notice this, but they open the tin and they hold it out for them to pick whichever cookie they would like. But as Azumi does, uh, Connie does mention, um, perhaps if you do need to stop by again, I could always this time be prepared to make some tea and um, and they actually go into their hammer space. Oh,
Oh no! That's a fumble.
that's a fumble. Ooh, I haven't fumbled with Connie. All right, what is it? What did I get? Oh,
Oh,
okay. So, um,
I'm so
you can
glad.
tell that they were trying to pull out something a little bit lighter, but you see them go into a pocket of their little sweater vest, and they pull out a little bag, just a nondescript tied bag. Um, and they look kind of confused for a moment. Oh, that's not really that's not what I meant. I'm sorry. They just place that back into their space, and they're gonna try again. And
Oh no!
here we go again. God, this is so character for me. 20. All right. Oh, now I have a 20. Uh,
Hmm.
so they go back in. Well, surely it must be in here. And they check their other pockets. They have two. And they pull out a ball of yarn, which looks very similar in color to the sweater vest. Oh, oh, that's right. But that's not quite. I'm sorry. Just to, and they put it back.
Simmons
By
just
now,
watching this like, what? What?
I, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to get this darn, and they're gonna try again. Connie, please, just give me something. Uh, so
Help.
okay. Um, so so now they go back into the first pocket and they pull out a little book. And it seems to be a book of poems. Oh, that's not really. And with a frustrated sigh, they put it back and they actually
I.
pick up. They close the tin, pick up the bag, and they just go in and put it on the kitchen counter. Just maybe I need to focus. I'm trying to get a business card, but I store them in my pockets. I can't seem to. And they go try one more time, and it's still, honey, please just get the darn business card. Um, that was t and uh, there they go into their other pocket. It's got to be around here, and that like they use both hands to go into their pocket and they come out wearing oven mitts. Uh oh, that's that's
I
closer,
want.
but not that's not
I want everybody listening to know that Azumi has not been in Einquell for very long, and he's not used to the kind of shenanigans Toons get into. He's just like he's just kind of watching this like, okay.
Oh, darn. You know, I I don't want to keep you here longer than you have. I have a better idea. Because they look to the desk and notice that the notebook and pen are still out there. So they walk over to the desk. They pull one of Shirley's business cards. They flip it to the back, and with the pen, they write down their name and the business number. They um and they click the pen and walk back over to Azumi. Ah, here you are. And they hold it out to you. But then they freeze for a moment. Ah, um, I, you know my name already, and now they look rather bashful. We use the same line. We use the same telephone line. I, and they just look very embarrassed. I, that's why I don't have business cards. They already, and, uh, just, I'm sorry.
Oh,
They
it's
just,
it's perfectly all right. And Azumi just takes the card and he looks it over.
and it says in a nice little neat script, Constance Lane, therapist, and then also a number.
Oh.
I do tend to be, I function a bit as a secretary of sorts, so I just thought it would be convenient to provide a number, but it's pretty much the same number. And they just look kind of dejected, like, I hadn't thought of it.
Oh, Toons. Um. Uh, Azumi just kind of like nods as he pockets the the business card. He has two now.
Refer a friend, I guess. Because Connie didn't know.
I'm fucking. um. Hmm. What does he say? He says, "Oh, it's perfectly fine. In fact, knowing this now does help clear things up for me. But I'm afraid that's all the time I have right now."
Ah, yes. I hope I didn't keep you too long. Um, and that's just how things are sometimes. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You
They
as
give a
well.
little smile.
Yeah, he nods and he goes, "Yes, you as well." And he goes to leave through the door, of course. Um, real quick, what is? Do you want to have Connie roll? I guess this would be perception, real quick.
Do you want the passive or do you want me to roll?
What's their passive?
Their passive's a 15.
Okay, here's.
I can still roll if you want.
I think it would be better if you rolled.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
Okay, that's a 21.
Real quick, what are Connie's languages?
Oh, languages. Oh, jeez. I didn't think, oh, I gotta look for that real quick. Whoopsie. Where is your language? It's under proficiencies. Languages. They, okay. They seem to know, I think I meant to update it, but so far they know, Common and Grolix, obviously. But
Mm-hmm.
they also know Thieves' Cant and Elvish.
Okay, so here's what you get with the modified 21. Um, the entire time Azumi has been in the office, he'd been smiling. Like he's had this small, kind of gentle smile on his face, but the moment he turns and he isn't facing you, you kind of get the impression that the smile just dropped from his face, and you hear him grumble something in a language you don't understand as he opens the door and leaves.
The door shuts behind you, Izumi. And and likewise, Connie had been smiling when they realized that maybe they weren't so content. It turns to a frown. Oh, I hope I didn't make too bad of an impression. As they walk back to their desk, uh, and they gaze at the plant. Uh, well, it's just you and me again, Plant. But I sure hope Mixed Plant comes back soon. They do tend to run off quite often. Uh, and we'll just leave with Connie rustling through the bag, procuring some tea, and just brewing some. We kind of fade out. That's
Yeah.
probably a good place, right?
Yeah, this is a very, very good place to wrap up this FPS as I finish taking this drink. Okay. Alright. Um, thank you so much for listening, everybody.
Yes. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.